Video Phantom! Scary stories!
Before we begin, please make sure you visit our Video Phantoms website every day and check out all of the new content and cool stuff we have for you over there. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you won't miss whenever we upload next. With that being said, let's grab your popcorn and enjoy the video. CatDog Cartoon Series, Story 1, Split Personalities. CatDog had always been the odd ones out in Nuremberg, a creature with two heads, one a meticulous feline and the other an energetic canine, seemed impossible. Yet there they were, a living paradox that somehow managed to balance the extremes of their dual nature. Cat's love for cleanliness and order was often at odds with Dog's chaotic exuberance, but despite their differences, they had always found a way to coexist. Their life was far from easy, but over the years they had learned to manage. Cat would often take the lead in situations that required finesse or intelligence, while Dog's boundless energy and optimism pulled them through when brute force or sheer determination was needed. They were two halves of a whole, perfectly mismatched, yet they complemented each other in a way that few could understand. But recently, things had started to change. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly. Cat found himself growing increasingly irritable, snapping at Dog over the smallest things. The sound of Dog's constant panting, which had once been a background noise he had grown used to, now grated on his nerves like nails on a chalkboard. At first, Cat chalked it up to stress or lack of sleep, but the feeling only grew stronger, gnawing at him day by day. Dog, on the other hand, was feeling something quite different. There was an unease growing inside him, a restlessness he couldn't quite explain. He found himself pacing the house at night, unable to settle down. He wanted to run, to chase, to unleash the wild energy that was building up inside him, but something was holding him back. It was as if an invisible force was tugging at his mind, whispering dark thoughts that made no sense to him. The tension between them had been building for days, though neither had mentioned it. Cat buried himself in books and puzzles, trying to distract himself from the growing agitation that seemed to bubble up without warning. Dog, usually carefree and happy-go-lucky, began to grow quiet and withdrawn, a far cry from his usual exuberant self. One night, after another frustrating day of trying to ignore the growing tension, Cat finally snapped. They were in the living room, Cat curled up with a book while Dog played with a squeaky toy. The incessant squeaking had been going on for what felt like hours, and Cat's patience was wearing thin. "Dog, could you please stop that?" Cat said through gritted teeth, trying to keep his voice calm. Dog paused for a moment, looking up at Cat with a puzzled expression. "What's the matter, Cat? I'm just playing." "I know, but the noise is driving me insane." Cat snapped, his tail flicking irritably. "Can't you find something quieter to do?" Dog's ears drooped, and he dropped the toy. "Sorry, Cat. I didn't mean to bother you." Cat sighed, immediately feeling guilty for snapping at Dog. "No, I'm sorry, Dog. I didn't mean to yell. I don't know what's wrong with me lately." "It's okay," Dog said, but there was a strange look in his eyes, a glint of something Cat couldn't quite place. That night, Cat found it impossible to sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he was bombarded by a low, insistent hum in his ears. It was as if 1,000 tiny voices were whispering just out of earshot, and the harder he tried to ignore it, the louder it seemed to get. He tossed and turned, trying to find a comfortable position, but nothing helped. Beside him, Dog was unusually still. Normally, Dog would be snoring softly, his paws twitching as he dreamed of chasing squirrels or digging up bones. But tonight, Dog lay awake, staring blankly at the ceiling. His mind was racing, filled with an overwhelming urge to run, to escape. But escape what? He couldn't understand it. It was like a storm was brewing inside him, and no matter how hard he tried to calm himself, the storm only grew fiercer. The next morning, they both awoke feeling worse than they had the night before. Cat's nerves were on edge, every little sound setting his teeth on edge. Dog, usually up and about as soon as the sun rose, dragged himself out of bed with a heaviness that felt unnatural. As the day wore on, the tension between them only grew. Every word they exchanged felt like it was laced with unspoken anger. Cat found himself glaring at Dog for no reason, while Dog responded with uncharacteristic hostility. It was as if something was poisoning the air between them, turning their usual banter into sharp, cutting exchanges. "Why don't you go outside for a while, Dog?" Cat suggested, trying to put some distance between them. "Get some fresh air." Dog gave him a cold look, something Cat had never seen before. "Maybe you're the one who needs to go outside, Cat. I'm tired of you always bossing me around." Cat blinked in surprise. "Bossing you around? I'm just trying to help." "Well, maybe I don't need your help," Dog snapped, his voice rising with uncharacteristic anger. Cat recoiled, stunned by the sudden outburst. "Dog, what's gotten into you?" But Dog didn't answer. Instead, he turned and stormed out of the room, leaving Cat feeling bewildered and hurt. Over the next few days, their relationship continued to deteriorate. They were constantly at each other's throats, arguing over the smallest things. Cat found himself growing more irritable and short-tempered, while Dog became increasingly aggressive and confrontational. It was as if something had taken hold of them, amplifying their worst traits and driving a wedge between them. One evening, the tension finally came to a head. They were sitting in the living room, the air thick with unspoken anger. Cat was trying to read, but the hum in his head had grown so loud that he could barely concentrate. Dog was pacing back and forth, unable to sit still, his mind racing with thoughts that he couldn't control. Suddenly, without warning, Dog stopped pacing and turned to Cat, his eyes blazing with a wild intensity. "I've had enough of this, Cat," Dog snarled, his voice trembling with rage. "I'm tired of you always being in control. It's my turn now." Cat stared at him, shocked by the sudden outburst. "What are you talking about, Dog? You're not making any sense." "Oh, I'm making perfect sense," Dog growled, his voice low and menacing. "You've always been the one in charge, always telling me what to do." "Well, not anymore." Before Cat could react, Dog lunged at him, his teeth bared in a snarl. Cat barely had time to defend himself before they were locked in a vicious struggle, rolling across the floor in a flurry of claws and teeth. "Dog, stop. What are you doing?" Cat cried out, struggling to push Dog away. But Dog didn't listen. His eyes were wild with fury, and there was a feral intensity in his attacks that Cat had never seen before. It was as if Dog had become something else, something dangerous and uncontrollable. Cat fought back with all his might, his own instincts taking over. The hum in his head grew louder, drowning out all rational thought. All he could think about was defending himself, fighting back against the force that was trying to overpower him. The room was filled with the sounds of their struggle, snarls, growls, and the sickening sound of flesh and bone colliding. They were no longer just Cat and Dog. They were two wild animals, each one fighting for dominance in a brutal battle for control. As the fight dragged on, Cat could feel his strength waning. Dog was relentless, his attacks growing more savage with each passing moment. Cat knew he couldn't keep this up much longer, but there was no escape. They were trapped in this nightmare together, locked in a battle that neither of them could win. Finally, after what felt like hours, Cat managed to push Dog away, sending him crashing into a bookshelf. Panting heavily, Cat struggled to his feet, his body aching from the fight. Dog lay on the floor, dazed and disoriented, but still seething with anger. "What's happened to us, Dog?" Cat gasped, his voice trembling with fear. "This isn't who we are." But Dog didn't answer. He just lay there, breathing heavily, his eyes filled with a cold, unfeeling darkness that sent a chill down Cat's spine. Suddenly, a voice echoed in Cat's mind, low and sinister. "This is who you've always been, Cat. You've just been too afraid to admit it." Cat froze, his heart pounding in his chest. The voice was coming from inside his own mind, but it didn't sound like him. It was darker, more malevolent, and it filled him with a sense of dread that he couldn't shake. Who are you?" Cat whispered, his voice barely audible. "I'm you," the voice replied, a cruel edge to its tone. "I'm the part of you that you've kept locked away for so long." The part of you that's tired of being weak, tired of being controlled. No, that's not true, Cat stammered, shaking his head in denial. I'm not like that. Oh, but you are. The voice insisted, its tone dripping with malice. You've just been too scared to face it. But now there's no running away. We're in this together, Cat. Cat felt a cold shiver run down his spine as the realization sank in. The voice was right. There was a part of him that he had always kept hidden, a darker side that he had never wanted to acknowledge. But now it was out in the open and there was no going back. As the voice continued to whisper dark thoughts into his mind, Cat could feel his control slipping away. The hum in his head grew louder, drowning out all reason and logic. He was losing himself, becoming something else entirely. Dog slowly got to his feet, shaking off the daze from the fall. He looked at Cat, and for a moment their eyes met. But there was no recognition in Dog's gaze. No sign of the bond they had once shared. Instead, there was only a cold, empty stare, as if Dog was no longer in control of his own mind. Without a word, Dog lunged at Cat again, and the battle resumed. This time there was no holding back. They fought with a savage intensity, each one driven by the dark forces that had taken hold of their minds. The room was filled with the sounds of their struggle, a chaotic symphony of violence and destruction. As they fought, the room around them seemed to blur and twist, as if reality itself was being warped by the darkness that had consumed them. The walls closed in, the furniture splintered and cracked, and the air grew thick with a suffocating darkness. Cat could feel his strength ebbing away, but he couldn't stop. The voice in his head urged him on, whispering dark encouragements that fueled his rage. He could see the same darkness reflected in Dog's eyes, a wild, uncontrollable fury that mirrored his own. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they both collapsed, too exhausted to continue. They lay on the floor, panting heavily, their bodies battered and bruised. The room was in shambles, a chaotic mess of broken furniture and shattered glass. But the worst damage had been done to them. The bond they had once shared, the unique connection that had allowed them to coexist despite their differences, was gone. In its place was a deep, unbridgeable chasm, filled with darkness and hatred. They were no longer Cat and Dog, the inseparable pair that had always managed to find common ground. They were something else now, something twisted and broken. The darkness that had taken hold of them had driven a wedge between them, turning them into enemies trapped in the same body. As they lay there, too weak to move, the voice in Cat's head spoke again, its tone mocking. You see, Cat, this is who you really are. There's no escaping it. Cat closed his eyes, feeling a deep sense of despair wash over him. The voice was right. The darkness was a part of him, a part that he had never wanted to acknowledge, but could no longer deny. And now it had consumed him completely. Beside him, Dog let out a low growl, his body trembling with rage. He was still fighting, still trying to resist the darkness that had taken hold of him, but it was a losing battle. The storm inside him was too strong, too overwhelming, and it was only a matter of time before it consumed him as well. As the night wore on, the house grew silent. The struggle was over, but the damage had been done. CatDog was no longer the harmonious duo they had once been. They were broken, their bond shattered by the dark forces that had taken hold of them. And as they lay there in the darkness, they both knew that there was no going back. They had crossed a line, and there was no way to undo what had been done. The darkness was now a part of them, a permanent scar that would never fade. In the end, CatDog had become something far more terrifying than they had ever imagined. They were no longer just a creature with two heads. They were a living embodiment of the darkness that lurked within them, a monstrous hybrid that could never be whole again. And as the first light of dawn broke through the shattered windows, casting long shadows across the ruined room, CatDog lay still, their minds lost in the depths of their own darkness, forever changed by the battle they had fought and lost.
Hey, what's up, guys? This your boy Quan318. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me to grow. And guys, if you really enjoyed the video, please give it a share on social media, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you guys be hanging out at the most. It really helps, and I appreciate it, guys. Also, my goal is to reach at least 1 million loyal subscribers over the next 5 years. Guys, I'm going to give it everything I got and go hard as I can. Hopefully it pays off for me, guys. And y'all going to be a big part of that. And as I grow, you guys will be rewarded for a lot of stuff for helping me participating. And as just a token of my appreciation, guys, the least I can do. Also, guys, make sure you go down in the video description and click the links. Visit all my websites. I done put hella work into these websites, man. Getting them built up, jam-packed with content just for you guys. You know, we got videos. We got the hottest trending offers online. I'm talking about everything, guys. Everything from education, teaching you how to make $1,000 a day online. Like, man, guys, everything that you can think of is on there. So, guys, make sure you go over there, check it out. Click links, watch videos, do your thing, man. I really want you guys to enjoy. I worked hard on it, and I want you guys to really enjoy it, man. So, yeah. Also, guys, while you're down there in the description, make sure you go and check out my other channels. I got links to all of them down below. I worked hard on these channels, guys. I worked hard on my websites. I worked hard on everything for you guys. Make sure you join my Facebook groups. I got Facebook groups set up for every channel that I got, guys. I'm trying to go global, man. You feel me? It's the family, man. This Rich Founders, man. I want y'all to be part of Rich Founders. Y'all part of the family, man. This a mafia, you feel me? Going worldwide with this shit. But anyway, man, love you guys. Y'all be blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.